IRCTC is a monopoly, no doubt about that. And that's why investors believe that this stock will do well in the long run. But do you know why most of the government companies have been wealth destroyers? Forget about giving good returns. What do you think is the reason? And can IRCTC change this trend? Let's check out in this video. Hello investors, welcome to yet another video. Before I talk in detail about what is the structural problem with government companies and why they have not given returns to the investors, let's check a few examples and then we'll come to this point. And in the end, we'll look at IRCTC and what we can expect from it in the future. Let's check this. Okay, so you can see the screen. I have opened this company, this website called screener.in. Let's check a few names. For example, let's start with Coal India. Now, Coal India is the largest coal manufacturer in the country. It's almost like a monopoly. Let's just go down and check this table. 5-year returns compounded annually and 10 years returns compounded annually. Minus 13.39% for last 5 years and minus 7.3% for last 10 years compounded annually. Clear-cut case of wealth destroyer. Let's check out a few more companies. Let's go to State Bank of India. Largest bank in India again. Go down. Now look at this. 5-year returns 12.54%, not bad. 10-year returns 10.75%. You might say it's not bad, but in my opinion, this is like below average for sure. Why? Because we are in a bull market right now. If in a bull run, this is the kind of returns they have generated in the last 5 years and 10 years, then you can imagine what the kind of return they have given when the market is not good or when the market is like in a range bound situation, right? And look at other examples. Look at this. Bank of Baroda, negative. Punjab National Bank, negative. IOB, negative. Canara Bank, negative. Union Bank, negative. Bank of India, negative. All PSU banks have destroyed wealth of investors so far. Let's look at some more examples. Let's go to another company called NTPC. Now, NTPC is India's largest energy conglomerate. Let's look at this. And all these companies, by the way, are all that Maharatna and Navratna companies of the Indian government, right? Let's go down. Check this. Last 5 years, minus 1.56% returns, and last 10 years, minus 0.38% returns. Again, wealth destroyer. Next, let's look at some more examples. NMDC. Now, this is India's largest iron ore producer, right? Just go down. Look at this. 1.26% returns in last 5 years and minus 1.66% returns in last 10 years. Let's look at some more examples. BHEL, Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited. Go down. Look at this. Minus 6.71, minus 9.66. You need more examples. Let's look at GAIL India. Go down. Look at this. 0.66, 1.61. Yeah. Couple of examples more and then we'll move forward. ONGC. All these are like huge companies and almost monopolies or duopolies, or they're like prominent and powerful companies in their own industry. Look at this. Minus 5.99, minus 2.02. Yeah. One last example. BPCL. Look at this. Minus 2.26, 16.78. Yeah. Look at other companies also. IOCL, HPCL, MRPL, CP, all of them, all the government companies you look at, they have been wealth destroyers in the long run. Now, I'm not talking about last 1.5 years, because every company has given returns almost every company has given returns in last 1.5 years, right? So that's not a actual good parameter to look at. I am looking at long-term wealth creation. Can these companies, what is the reason that these companies have not been able to build wealth for their investors? Forget about building wealth, they have not even given you positive returns. So you saw all this data. Now let's look at the structural problem of these government companies, because of which they have not been able to build wealth and they might not be able to do so in the future as well. Number one problem, or the number one view which I have is, the main objective of government company is public service and public utility. The main objective is not to build wealth for the shareholder or even to build wealth for the company itself or the government itself. Remember, the owner is the government here, not some private entity, right? Now, a few years back, there was a scheme which was launched in India, Jan Dhan Yojana. Most of you must have heard of it, right? In this scheme, all the government banks were ordered by the government to approach all those people in the country who have no access to banking, who don't have a single bank account. Yeah. They have opened more than 45 crore Jan Dhan Yojana accounts so far. Behind every bank account, there is at least one more person who is dependent. For example, children or maybe parents, right, who are dependent. So essentially, approximately 90 crore people of India have got access to banking, which they never had, let's say, 10 years back. Right? Now, this I personally believe it should help in the financial inclusion. It can do a lot of wonders for these people going ahead. But just forget about that for the time being. Think about what happened to those banks who actually did this operation. They had operational losses while opening these accounts. It was quite a task to go there, get their documents collected, help them get the document, open their bank account, and then most of the bank accounts had either zero money or 10, 20, 100, 200, 500 rupees. So operationally, it was a huge loss for all these banks who had no option but to participate in this. Right? It was an order by the government, they had to do it. Right? Secondly, even today, the cost of Jan Dhan Yojana account is more than the kind of revenue they generate from the Jan Dhan Yojana accounts. Again, the reason is same, that the amount of money which is kept there is relatively low compared to other normal accounts in the country. Right? But again, they have to do this. Why? Because it's an order by the government. So as a citizen, I will be happy because it is something good is happening to them. They're getting access to banking channel and a lot of new things opens up for them. But as an investor in these banks, for example, the PSU banks, I would not be happy, right? Because I'm now thinking like an investor. Right? So the main purpose, as I said, of government companies is public service and public utility. Before we go ahead, announcement for the winner for the last week's quiz. The name of the winner is there in the description box. A big congratulations to you. My team has already contacted you through email asking you for further details so that we can deliver the book to your doorstep. For others, there is another quiz link in the description box, and this link is there only for next 72 hours from the time we upload this video. So make sure you take the quiz, and all the best for the book. Let's get back to the video. Another point. Have you ever seen any minister, be it a chief minister or a prime minister or a cabinet minister, or anyone related to the company, ever comes out and says that he's like giving a bhashan and he or she is like, we are committed to the shareholders of so and so company? You never would have heard this, right? They are not supposed to be committed to the shareholders. They are supposed to be committed to the citizens of the country. They are supposed to do things or come up with schemes which is good for the mass at large. Yeah, and people like you and I, we are still in minority in India in terms of being stock market investors. Yeah. Hardly 5% of India's population is investing in stock market, so we are definitely in minorities. Yeah. So don't expect the government to have any kind of a KRA or a mandate to build wealth for the shareholders, because that's not their commitment for sure. They are not supposed to, I believe, have any kind of commitment on that part. Second problem. If you have been to government departments, any government department, you know this basic problem of lack of efficiency, because there is a lack of transparency, there is lack of accountability. In general, that atmosphere is very different, right? And think about it when you are partnering with that company, because when you are investing in stocks, you are becoming a partner of that company, right? So would you like to become a partner of a government department who works in that manner? Yeah. Now, I don't want to generalize. I believe there are exceptional cases. There are cases where the department might be working well, but in general, the aura or the experience we have so far is that it is highly inefficient and there is lack of transparency and accountability. Right. Third point, as we talked about Jan Dhan Yojana, the government can come up with any such scheme in the future which looks like it is good for the citizens, or which may do really well for the citizens of the country, the large mass, but it would not be good for the investor. And if the government has to choose between the two, the minority investors and in the public at large, they'll definitely choose public. That risk always remains in the government company, even though it might be doing well today. Tomorrow, for the sake of public good, they might do something which is not good for me as an investor of the company. right? And the last important point and the most important point is corruption. I don't really have to convince you on that. We know the kind of corruption we have in general in the government space. I hope that will improve with time, but I mean the situation is pretty bad even now. And you look at the cases of like Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi. Why do you think always the government bank is involved when these kind of cases come out? Why don't we hear the name of private sector banks, which are like really good banks, that they had given loans to these people, and now they are like it's a big NPA. It's rare, right? So think about it. What's happening at the back end? Yeah. Now, coming to the last part, IRCTC. A lot of investors are I hear them out, and they I look at YouTube videos and read reports and TV and all. A lot of people are saying that IRCTC is bound to do well because it's a clear-cut monopoly, right? I mean, and it's likely to remain a monopoly for a very long time to come. Yeah. My only contention here is, or I would say 2 points I want to make here. Number one, there are many other government companies. If you look at like 20 years back, if I would have asked you, you would have given me some logical reason why this set of these companies, government companies, will do well in future. Yeah, but they have not done well despite be it a monopoly or duopoly or having all the powers they need. Yeah. So there is some structural problem, as we discussed, right? Number 2 point, I believe if IRCTC keeps on building more and more profits year on year, 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. I mean, it's hardly been 2 years, 3 years it's been listed, so it's not a very good benchmark to keep right now, because we have been in a bull market also for last 1.5 years. I want to see 10-year run of IRCTC and then maybe take a call that it really did something different from the other government companies. Coming back to the point, if IRCTC really as a company makes leaps and bounds in profits every year and they keep on growing, I believe it will become a political issue. Whoever is in the opposition, they will start crying foul. They'll be like, you are looting the public. Garibo ka paisa loot rahe ho. Why are you making so much money in IRCTC? Why can't you subsidize the rates of your catering, of your food? Yep, of your eatables. Why can't you reduce the convenience fee in the e-ticketing? Why are you making so much money? Because even the lower middle class, and even the people who are not affluent, forget about being affluent, people who are not really well off, they're not able to meet most of their basic needs. Even they travel by railways, right? So this most likely will become a political issue, and this is not something unique. I am saying the government knows this. Whichever government is in power, they know this, and that's another reason why most of the government companies have not created wealth, because the moment they start creating wealth, it becomes like a political issue that government is looting the public. So now, having said that, don't go and sell your IRCTC stock tomorrow. I'm just giving my opinion, looking at what has happened in the past and what is the general political structure in the country. Yeah, IRCTC may be a unique case. It may be an exceptional case. It may change the trend. I don't know that. This is not an advice to buy, sell or hold. But given the trend in India, given the structural problem in the political space and the government companies, this is what my concern is related to any government company, be it IRCTC or be it any other company which might get listed in future or which is already listed. So that's my opinion on PSU stocks. I hope this video added value to you. If you liked it, please press the like button. Please share it in your circle and leave a comment if you have anything to share with us. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video again.